Have you ever thought about how your priorities change as you grow older? It's interesting to observe how the things that once seemed so crucial in our lives begin to lose their importance. For instance, having a wide circle of friends may not feel as significant as it once did. And here's a perspective that might surprise you. After reaching the age of 70, you really don't need to have a lot of friends. Now, I know that might sound a bit shocking at first, but if you take a moment to reflect, you'll realize that embracing your independence and concentrating on your personal well-being can be one of the most rewarding decisions you make. In this video, we're going to delve into 6 reasons why friendships aren't as essential in your later years as they used to be. We'll look at how your mindset, personal freedom, and even your health can improve when you stop stressing over friendships that no longer add value to your life. This discussion isn't about promoting loneliness. It's about living life on your own terms, free from the unnecessary burdens and expectations that friendship can sometimes bring. Please stick around till the end, because you just might discover that releasing the pressure to maintain friendships is not only liberating, but could also transform how you view your later years in a positive light. So let's jump right in. To start, reason number 1. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. One of the key reasons that friendships aren't as necessary after 70 is that you've already navigated that phase of life where social validation was crucial. Think back to your younger days. How often did your friendships revolve around the need to impress others, fit in, or uphold certain appearances? Whether it was trying to make a good impression at work, staying in touch with social circles, or ensuring you were included in gatherings, there was always some underlying pressure to be accepted and recognized. But now, you've entered a stage in life where those pressures have significantly diminished. You've established your identity and legacy in the eyes of those around you, and their opinions don't hold the same weight they once did. At this age, you've experienced enough to realize that true fulfillment stems not from external validation, but from within. There's no need to chase friendships simply for social status anymore. You are who you are, and you don't require anyone else's approval to affirm it. Many younger individuals might spend countless hours worrying about how they're perceived and whether they're liked, admired, or respected. However, when you reach your later years, you come to understand that none of that defines your worth. Instead, you're the one who sets your value, and you don't need a crowd around you to reinforce it. Consider Harold, a gentleman in his early 70s. He dedicated most of his life to climbing the corporate ladder, surrounded by colleagues and acquaintances who he thought of as friends. However, he soon realized that many of these relationships were built on convenience rather than genuine connection. After retiring, those friendships began to dwindle. Initially, he felt compelled to reach out and keep those connections alive. But then, he had an epiphany. Why should he expend energy on friendships that only existed because of work? Why chase after relationships that had never been deeply meaningful? Instead of clinging to friendships out of habit, Harold redirected his focus inward. He began to invest his time in personal hobbies, rediscovered passions he had left behind, and most importantly, he stopped worrying about what others thought of him. He discovered that without the burden of maintaining friendships, he felt a newfound sense of freedom. No more forced small talk, no more social obligations, and no more anxiety about whether people liked him or not. He was finally living for himself, and it felt incredibly refreshing. And that's the essence of it. When you stop seeking validation from others, you quickly realize how much energy you wasted on friendships that didn't genuinely enrich your life. You've reached a point where you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You're no longer obligated to meet anyone else's expectations, and the only person whose approval matters is your own. Now, let's move to reason number 2. Peace becomes more valuable than socializing. As you age, your perspective shifts, and you start to appreciate how much more valuable peace is compared to social interaction. In your younger years, being around others may have felt essential. The noise, the gatherings, the conversations, everything seemed part of a rich life. But as time passes, you begin to cherish something much quieter. Not just any quiet, but a tranquility that allows you to be genuinely at ease, free from the unnecessary drama, obligations, and exhaustion that can come from social interactions. Even the most gratifying friendships carry a certain level of responsibility. There are calls to return, invitations to accept, and unspoken expectations to maintain contact. It's not that friendships are inherently bad. It's just that, at a certain point, they can feel more like a chore than a joy. The reality is, you don't have to fill your time trying to keep up with others. You're at a stage in life where your time belongs to you, and you get to decide how to spend it. Take Margaret, for example. At 74, she used to have a bustling social life filled with lunch dates, group calls, and holiday gatherings. Her calendar was jam-packed. However, as the years rolled on, she realized that many of those social interactions were less fulfilling and more draining. The conversations became monotonous, often revolving around the same stories being retold. Some friends would only reach out to complain, while others were more interested in gossip than in meaningful discussions. The joy she once found in companionship had turned into a routine that no longer excited her. One day, Margaret decided it was time for a change. She stopped feeling guilty about declining invitations she wasn't enthusiastic about. She let go of the pressure to respond to every call or text immediately. Instead, she embraced solitude. She discovered that the time she had once spent managing friendships was now hers to enjoy however she wished. She took longer walks, immersed herself in nature, and finally picked up those books she had intended to read for years. Most importantly, she learned that being alone didn't equate to loneliness. It was peaceful. That's the beauty of this phase in life. You're no longer obliged to fill your days with constant activity or conversation, just to feel connected. You can enjoy your own company. Without the need for validation from others, you can choose peace over pressure, calm over chaos. So, if you've ever felt guilty about stepping back from social obligations, remind yourself that you're not withdrawing from life. You're embracing a new kind of fulfillment, one that comes from within and that only improves as you age. If you're still with me and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Let's move on to reason number 3. Having fewer friendships means fewer disappointments. One of life's hardest lessons is realizing that not everyone you consider a friend is truly there for you. Over the years, you've probably experienced this firsthand. You've seen people who were once close drift away, and you felt the sting of friends becoming distant when you needed them the most. Many relationships can turn out to be one-sided, and by the time you reach 70, you begin to understand that having fewer friendships doesn't just reduce social obligations. It also reduces disappointment. Friendships, no matter how strong, come with expectations. There's the expectation to check in, to be available, to provide support. But what happens when those expectations go unmet? You end up feeling disappointed. You call someone, but they don't return your call. You make an effort, but they don't reciprocate. You might find yourself giving more than you receive, and at this stage in life, do you really need that kind of stress? The answer is no. Take William, for instance. At 78, he's seen friendships come and go. Some faded naturally, while others fell apart. He realized that he was always the one putting in the effort. Friends he had known for years suddenly became too busy or uninterested to maintain a genuine connection. Initially, it hurt. He questioned what he had done wrong and wondered why certain people seemed to forget about him. But then he had a revelation. He wasn't the one who had changed. He had simply stopped tolerating friendships that didn't feel mutual. When you let go of the notion that you need a large circle of friends, you also free yourself from the disappointments that come with unmet expectations. You no longer have to feel frustrated when someone doesn't check in. You don't have to feel let down when a friendship fades. Instead, you can focus on the most important person in your life, yourself. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. It simply means you're choosing quality over quantity. Instead of trying to maintain a long list of acquaintances, you prioritize the relationships that bring you joy and require little effort to sustain. Whether it's family, a lifelong friend, or even a strong connection with yourself, those are the relationships that truly matter. If you've ever felt that friendships have brought you more stress than joy, remember that it's perfectly okay to step back. It's all right to choose simplicity over complexity, peace over frustration. Now let's explore reason number 4. Your time becomes incredibly precious. As you age, it dawns on you that time is your most valued resource. In your younger years, it might have felt like you had all the time in the world. There was more time to spend with friends, more time to invest in social circles, and more time to worry about who was in your life and who was. But by the time you hit 70, your perspective shifts. You start to recognize that every hour, every day, every moment is truly precious. When you grasp the real value of your time, you naturally become more selective about how you spend it. While friendships can be fulfilling, they also require time and effort. There are calls to make, visits to schedule, and plans to keep. While some connections are worth maintaining, many are simply habits carried over from the past, relationships you keep out of obligation rather than genuine enjoyment. At this stage in life, you deserve to ask yourself, is this how I want to spend my time? Does this friendship enhance my happiness, or does it feel like just another item on my to-do list? Take Richard, a man in his early 80s. He once had an active social life filled with dinner parties, group outings, and regular phone calls. But over time, he began to feel differently. The long conversations that once brought him joy became draining. The social gatherings that used to excite him started to feel like obligations. One day, while enduring yet another lunch filled with small talk and complaints, he realized he didn't want to spend his time in this way anymore. So he made a change. He stopped saying yes out of habit and began to say no when he didn't feel like going out. Instead of spending hours catching up on gossip or listening to complaints, he dedicated his time to pursuits that genuinely brought him joy: reading, walking, learning, and simply enjoying the peace of his own company. And to his surprise, he didn't feel lonely. In fact, he felt more fulfilled than ever because he was spending his time on things that truly mattered to him, not on what others expected. That's the key. When you let go of unnecessary friendships, you gain something far more valuable: time for yourself. Time to engage in activities you love, time to savor life at your own pace, and time to focus on your happiness rather than trying to meet others' needs. So if you find yourself questioning whether to maintain certain friendships, ask yourself this: is this truly the best use of my time? Because at this stage in life, you owe your time to no one but yourself. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss any of our future content. Your support truly helps us continue creating valuable material to inform and inspire you. Moving on to reason number 5, true companionship comes from within. One of the biggest misconceptions about aging is that you need a large circle of friends to find happiness. In reality, the most important companionship you can cultivate is the one you develop with yourself. By the time you reach 70, you've spent decades learning, growing, and evolving. You know yourself better than anyone else ever could. And with that self-awareness comes an incredible realization: you are enough. For much of our lives, we are taught to seek companionship outside ourselves. We're led to believe that being social is the key to happiness, and that loneliness is something to dread. But there's a crucial difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Some of the happiest individuals in their later years are those who have embraced solitude, not as a form of isolation, but as an opportunity for self-discovery, reflection, and peace. Take Alina, for instance. She's 76 and once believed she needed to surround herself with people to feel fulfilled. Always busy making plans, checking in with friends, and filling her days with activities, she eventually realized something important. Even though she was socially active, she often felt drained instead of uplifted. She recognized that many of her friendships were based on routine rather than genuine connection. Even worse, she found herself constantly adjusting to fit into conversations, keeping up with social expectations, and avoiding the feeling of being left out. One day, she decided to stop that pattern. She chose to spend time with herself as if she were a dear friend, doing things she loved, listening to her own thoughts, and appreciating her own company. She took long walks without feeling the need to call anyone, visited cafes with a book instead of engaging in small talk, and spent quiet evenings reflecting on her life instead of stressing over maintaining friendships out of obligation. To her surprise, she felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than she had in years. Many people don't realize that true companionship isn't about how many people you have around you. It's about how comfortable you are with yourself. When you stop relying on others for entertainment, validation, or conversation, you unlock a level of freedom that many never experience. You no longer need external distractions to fill your time. You become your own source of joy, wisdom, and fulfillment. And here's the best part. When you genuinely enjoy your own company, you naturally attract relationships that are effortless. Instead of chasing friendships out of loneliness, you find that the right people come into your life at the right time. Individuals who respect your space, understand your values, and bring peace instead of pressure. So if you've ever worried that letting go of friendships might leave you feeling isolated, remember this. The best company you can ever have is the one that's already within you. And when you embrace that, you'll realize you were never truly alone to begin with. Now, let's explore reason number 6. Letting go opens the door to a more fulfilling life. One of the most empowering things you can do after 70 is to let go. Let go of the pressure to maintain friendships that no longer bring you joy. Release the notion that your social circle defines your worth. Let go of the belief that being alone means being lonely. The moment you free yourself from these expectations, you unlock a life that is simpler, freer, and infinitely more fulfilling. Many people cling to friendships out of habit, even when those relationships no longer add value to their lives. They attend social events they don't enjoy, answer calls out of obligation, and keep up appearances simply because that's what they've always done. But what if you didn't have to do any of that? What if you allowed yourself the freedom to let go of friendships that felt more like work, and instead focused on what truly made you happy? Consider James, a man in his late 70s who once thought that staying socially active was the key to aging well. He made an effort to keep in touch with old friends, even when those friendships had become distant or superficial. He filled his days with social obligations, believing that staying busy equated to staying fulfilled. But one day he had a revelation. He wasn't enjoying it. The conversations felt repetitive, the gatherings felt routine, and deep down he felt more exhausted than connected. So he made a choice. He stopped forcing friendships that no longer felt meaningful and began prioritizing what truly mattered to him. He spent more time outdoors, focused on his health, learned new things, and embraced the freedom that came with no longer needing to meet anyone's expectations. In doing so, he discovered an incredible truth. He felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than he had in years. That's the beauty of letting go. It doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world. It means creating space for what genuinely fulfills you. It means recognizing that your happiness isn't tied to how many people surround you, but rather how aligned you are with the life you truly want to lead. And here's what happens when you adopt this mindset. You stop stressing over who's in your life and start focusing on what brings you joy. You begin appreciating the little things, waking up to a quiet morning, enjoying a hobby without distractions, feeling at peace with your own thoughts. You realize that fulfillment doesn't come from maintaining friendships out of duty, but from living authentically and meaningfully. So, if you've ever felt that you should be doing more to maintain friendships, ask yourself, is this truly adding to my happiness, or am I holding on out of habit? Because once you give yourself permission to let go, you'll find that life becomes simpler, lighter, and more fulfilling in ways you never anticipated. As we wrap up this video, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. The idea that you don't need friends after 70 is not about isolation. It's about embracing freedom. It's about shedding unnecessary obligations, choosing peace over pressure, and living the life you genuinely desire. By now, you've seen how stepping away from friendships that no longer serve you can lead to more joy, more time, and more fulfillment than you ever expected. What resonated with you the most? Did any of these reasons strike a chord with you? Perhaps you've already begun to let go of friendships that felt like more work than joy. Maybe you've noticed how much you appreciate your own company when you give yourself the opportunity. Or perhaps this video has provided you with a fresh perspective on why it's perfectly acceptable to prioritize yourself. We would love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, letting us know one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your insights mean a lot to us, so don't hesitate to share. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support enables us to continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire.